You can stay up here, Ty. I want to give Quest for Peace an opportunity to talk. Quest for Peace, thank you for waiting patiently. Go ahead and unmute. What do you wanna say about the topic and anything that you've heard here?
First of all, thank you for allowing me on your platform. I've been enjoying the discussion so far. So I kind of want to speak to the part about the physical protection of black women by black men. Um, I was born and raised in Chicago, on the west side of Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
and I always assumed that I know for me and in my neighborhood, it was an unspoken rule that you protect the young, you protect black women, and you protect the elderly, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I assume that happens in any neighborhood, Chicago, Baltimore, Detroit, wherever, right? And that's still what I believe in. But what I've noticed is there's a change that's come about where a lot of women now, they're saying that they're independent, they don't need a man, um, you know, I'm a bad bitch, and so forth and so on. So what happens is that protection kind of goes out the window when when they're being disrespectful towards a man. You know what I'm saying? It's like that covering is gone because what man wants to protect a woman that disrespects him? That if he just says hello to her, she frowns up her face and gives him a nasty look or a nasty attitude. So I think that's what's happened at this point. You know, I feel like, I mean, ideally, every black woman should have every black man's covering. In the ideal world, but unfortunately, a lot of them they've been indoctrinated with a lot of these ideologies, feminist ideologies and um, WS supremacy ideologies, and it's taken effect. So as a result, black men are like, well, if you don't want my protection, then so be it. I'm not going to step in and come to your rescue. If I'm nothing to you, if you say black man ain't nothing, so that's how I feel about it. You know, there's a video that's online I saw a few years back, and it was an older guy. I think this was in Florida, and this lady was pregnant, and it was a napkin guy. He was giving her a hard time, right? Some of y'all might have seen this video. And this brother, he came out and he stood up for her. He actually pulled out his firearm and came to her defense. Because this guy was giving her a hard time. I feel like ideally that's how it should be. You know what I'm saying? We should be able to protect our women at all costs, but at the same time, our women, they can't say, oh, I won't, you ain't shit, and then turn around and say, oh, I want your protection. You're supposed to have my back, or you're supposed to come to my rescue. It's not gonna work that way.
Hey, Quest. I don't think you could have said any better. If you strong, you independent, and you literally are saying out of your mouth that I don't need a man, but then in another breath you saying that you don't feel protected. That's what I'm talking about. Just all these contradictory statements. And man, listen, about the whole protect black woman thing. Um is so I have a mother. I have two sisters. I feel 100% obligated to protect my mother and my two sisters. And Ty, I would like to hear your input on this as well because you are a black woman. Um, but and this happens every day, not just the stuff that we hear about. This happens every day. This happens every day to the point where there's 10 times more stories we don't hear about than the ones we do hear about whether it's a man and a woman, they're getting into an altercation, whether they're just yelling or whether they may be fighting, and a black man tries to intervene, to whether it's to protect the woman or just stop whatever it is that's going on, and he ends up getting severely hurt in the process, or he ends up losing his life in the process. Some of these men are husbands, some of these men are boyfriends, their brothers, their sons, their fathers. Is what is, do we need to start talking about if a black man does want to intervene, do we need to start having discussions about what is a proper way to intervene? Like should a black man really put his life at risk and put his life on the line for a black woman that he really doesn't have any loyalty to and that doesn't have any loyalty to him? And then and this is the last thing I'm gonna say, Quest. Then I want to hear what you have to say. Then I want to hear what Ty has to say, because a lot of times that same black man that tried to intervene and ended up losing his life, that woman just ended up going right back to that guy anyways. So I, like me personally, I'm not I'm not putting my life on the line. I'm not putting my life on the line for no black woman that I don't know and don't have any loyalty to. Not today, not in 2023. Um if I do want to intervene, I'll find other ways of intervening. I'll possibly try to get law enforcement involved or something like that, but I'm not going to put myself in harm's way personally. I'm not doing that. Nope.
I have to agree with you because also I've seen it where now this is another unspoken rule that I just assume people know. Growing up in the hood, if I saw, and I've seen this happen several times, if two people got into a disagreement or argument, I'm talking about significant others, a man and a woman, husband and wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever you want to call it. If they got into it, it was an unspoken rule that you don't interfere with that because what
Family.
I've seen happen several times is somebody try to be a hero and get in between them and save the woman, and they both turn on the person that tried to intervene. I've seen that
Mm-hmm.
several times.
Stay out of family business.
Stay out of that. Couples. Disagreements and stuff like that. But I digress. But I want to get back to the part about the music. I think the music does play an intricate part in all of this here too, because if you look at a lot of the artists today, not just the male artists, but the female artists, you
Mm-hmm.
get the Cardi B's and
Nicki
the
Minaj,
Nicki Minaj's and
City
the Meg the
Girls.
Stallions and all of
Yeah.
that. You got to look at the message that they're sending out, and a lot of our black women are eating that up. That I'm a bad bitch and get the bag and so forth and so on. That plays a huge part in this as well. So as far as the music part of it, yeah, I have to agree with both of you on that. That is a problem.
Ty, I'm curious, as a black woman, do you, just hypothetically speaking, do you think, like a black man that doesn't know you from a can of paint and that y'all don't have any loyalty to each other, do you think, and you have black sons, I mean, you even have a son that's my age, do you want your son to put his life on the line for some black woman that he has no loyalty to?
So I will say that I don't think that anybody should in I don't think that anybody should put their life on the line in any situation. I think you should always choose you first in all situations. However, I do know within us there is a innate. Remember my background, I'm
Mm-hmm.
psychology. So
Mm-hmm.
there's the innate thing within us, and it's called in what do you call it? Instinctive. Come on, y'all know the word I'm looking for. Like if you see a baby jumping into the fall into a pool, that instinct, that human instinct in you is to go in after that baby. So depending on
Innate.
what it looks like. Now, if they're just arguing or whatever, because you've seen this happen like in the mass shootings and the guy at the Waffle House that jumped in. I think it's something in us that depending on the situation, something happens, and we not just men, I just think that we humans, we automatically, human instinct is to, that's not the word though, it's not instinctive, it's actually a scientific word for this, that's put into us to automatically jump. If
Is
that's
it?
not happening, then no. If it's not nothing that's, oh man, like I didn't know, Just like I work with individuals that are intellectually and developmentally disabled. So that's autism, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome. So if I see, one of my guys, getting upset and he storms out the door, he's about to walk across the street, and of course he doesn't know, that a car is coming, I might jump in front of the car, because that's just human reaction to what's going on. So if it's not that type of behavior, then no, I don't think that somebody should just think about it and say, oh yeah, these two are over here fighting, let me go ahead and get into this. So no, I don't think it should be like that. But I do know that there are things that are, when you study the human psyche and the human makeup, that it's something in us to automatically just go towards a person who is in trouble. But if you have time to think that out and you see it and you be like, no, I'm gonna stay out of that, that's not instinct. So I'm not talking about that situation. But sometimes we don't have time to think about what we're doing. Like the guy in the Waffle House, he was like, I ain't have time to think about, what was going on. He just automatically jumped on the guy that was doing, he just did it. He didn't think about doing it. He just did it. So in that case, you really don't have, I mean, you really don't have time to think about, when you're in those type of situations. You do have people that become the unsung heroes. But yeah, in a domestic situation, I wouldn't say that I would want my son to, you know just think about it and then say, oh yeah, I'm a get into this. No, no. um my mother was a my mother had a boyfriend that used to abuse her. So there has been situations where gentlemen would, you know, tell my stepfather, man, is everything okay? Because he be trying to do too much in public. So when that happens, somebody will be like, don't do that, take that back home. Don't do that here. Um, but no, I don't think that people should just be risking their lives. If you got time to think about it, then no.
So I just want to interject that I think that men, I think it's something that's innate in men for us to be protectors.
Mhm.
It just comes natural. So like I said, I've seen the scenarios where something was going on and
Mhm.
a woman was being harmed, and I had to make that decision. No, I'm not going to interfere, even though I want to come to her rescue. But I had to stop and think, you know what? I got a family of my own. I got kids of my own. I got to make it back to them. So I had to
Mhm.
make that hard decision to walk away and mind my business.
And,
Mhm.
and Quest, I don't think it's a hard decision, though, brother. I don't think it's a hard decision at all. They have the whole working hard and working smart. I just think you're working smart. I think a black man is working smart in that instance. Like you said, I have a family of my own. I'm not putting my life on the line. I'm not putting my health on the line when it's going to negatively impact these other people. Now, Ty, I know we were speaking hypothetically, and you talk about a kid, possibly drowners. That situations like that is different, Ty. If you in the store and you're in whatever aisle shopping for whatever, and I just happen to see something about to fall off the top shelf and I run and push you out the way, or I run and grab you before it gets too close, that's different. I'm more so talking about, we see people in a domestic dispute, and you know like I said, this happens all the time. A man intervenes, and he gets pew pewed. The man that he tried to intervene with pew pews him, or hurts him severely. So now So that's the whole protect black woman. Listen, if your father needs to protect you. Hopefully your father is in your life. Your brothers need to protect you. Hopefully they're in your life. Your man needs to protect you. No, you're not entitled to protection from any other black man. Any other black man that does it, he's doing it on his own merit and because he wants to. And hopefully he makes it alive while he tries to intervene and protect you. But then, like I said, Ty, it's like a lot of domestic cases. Like the woman end up going right back. So that man lost his life just for the woman to go right back to the man that you were trying to protect her from. And at the end of the day, people got families out here. People got people that love them and care about them, and vice versa, and that they're taken care of. Yeah, black woman, you're not entitled to protection from nobody other than the men in your family and in your circle. That's it. That's it. I'll be honest with you, because we know we talk about protect black women. Do we? When do we talk about protecting black men? If
Well, I think that,
Ty, really quick. If if
uh-huh.
if if I was if you seen me at Walmart and you seen a woman getting loud and aggressive and putting her hands on me and you see me taking cover, are a bunch of black women gonna try and come and intervene and stop that from happening, or are you just gonna watch? And
So I do, if
what if
I
they do
if so I'm this is
what if they do try to intervene and that woman ends up taking their life? Then what?
no, so what I'm saying is, again, I don't know how old my guy down here in the corner is, and I don't have on my glasses, so I can't see.
Quest, how old are you, brother?
48.
48.
That's what I figured. I could tell by the conversation. So what I'm saying is, me and Quest would have similar viewpoints because of the era in which we grew up in. We grew up in a different time in which, like he said, I didn't have any. I My experience as a 43-year old, so Quest would be like like my older cousin's age. So me as a 43-year-old growing up in the 80s, 90s, and being around black men Quest age or maybe a little older, um I didn't have that problem. It was a understood in Quest. I grew up half of my life in St. Louis, the other half in Mississippi. It was an understood thing that my mom would say, okay, y'all girls walking to the store? Yes, ma'am. We'll go tell Al and Aaron, which were my mom's friends, sons. Her friend had three boys and a girl, and my mom had three girls and a boy. And we all just grew up together. So I couldn't walk to the store by myself because mama would tell me, go get Antoine, go get Aaron, and tell them to go with you. It was understood that these black men in our community was our bodyguards. They were there for us. I remember when um my sister walked around the corner. We lived around the corner from, Bloods, Quest. We lived around the corner from some Bloods. And so my sister, I don't know why she was around the corner by herself, but she was, and this guy jumped her, punched her in the mouth or whatever. I think she had on the wrong color. That was something in our time. So I think she had on blue, and she's, we was a blood neighborhood. So the guy beat her up, punched her in the lip or whatever, and I think he was trying to like her or whatever. Well, my mom's friend's son, he went around there and confronted him. He went in our time though, we wasn't shooting. In our time, we used our hands. In our time, it wasn't like it is now. So it's different now. But when we grew up, people, you know, there when guns and stuff got involved, it was something really going on. Somebody then did something, stepped on somebody's turf, or it was some type of drug thing involved. But just to pull out a gun for some minute stuff like it is today, we didn't do that back then. And the guys, even like when I go to church and um my church is in the hood. So when service let out, the black gentlemen in the church, if my husband is in there, they be like, Todd, you good walking out? And then I be like, yeah, I'm good. Then he'll say, no, no, I'm gonna have Felix or somebody to walk you out. I be like, okay. So I mean, I still have. I'm not saying I'm entitled to that protection, but men that are in their 50s and 60s, that's just what they do. They just like I can be if I'm by myself, they're gonna be like, Ty, is brother not around? No, no, sir. Well, don't walk out there by yourself. They tell me, Ty, don't walk out there by yourself. Wait till me and Sheila, we finna walk out with you. I see that I mean, that happens to me a lot, especially with gentlemen that's older or, in their 50s, 60. They do it all the time. It's just the younger my son's age, your age, y'all coming in a different time. And so your perspective, I sit down and talk to my son all the time because I do want to understand his world. Even though I've raised him, his world isn't like mine. The world he grew up in isn't like the world I grew up in. His perspective is totally um his perspective is going to be totally different. But I don't see my experience is that um I am protected. I don't have that experience where I'm not protected from black men.
So
But
can I
those
interject?
ones under me might have that experience.
I just wanted to interject this here to my point. You have that protection because of how you respond to your black men. You're not nasty with them. You're not condescending. You don't put them down. You don't talk down to them. Now, there's still some younger men today. They have these same qualities that some of us men have of my age range. They have them. But I think what's changed, and it's not to point fingers, but I think what's changed is the women, the younger women. They're more disrespectful. They're talking down to the young men, and when they're telling them, "Oh, I don't need you. I'm independent and I'm strong," then what other choice do they have? They're not going to say, "Oh yeah, I'm still going to protect you regardless if you say I'm no good or I'm nothing or you don't need me. I'm still going to stand here." No, that's not going to happen. So I think that's what the disconnect is.
Yeah, and